Hi, I'm Cietta Gower, and I have the privilege of sharing information on everyone's favorite part of the project, the quarterly report. The department is required to document the use of HUD grant funds and grantees' compliance with statutory and regulatory requirements. One of the ways we do this is by collecting quarterly financial and performance reports. This one report with two forms gives the department a quarterly checkup on the financial and performance health of your project. First, we should go over a few general requirements that will help you with your reporting. Your project files should contain documents with the names and titles of the grantee's representative that have fiscal responsibility, that have signature authority, and those who will perform book entries, check preparation, and bank reconciliations. These representatives should be covered by a grantee fidelity bond that is for an amount at least equal to any CDBG amount that would be in the grantee's CDBG bank account at one time. For example, if the grantee has $100,000 in the bank account because, let's say, the contractor has not yet cashed the check, and the grantee draws and receives from DCEO an additional $100,000, and it is also in the grantee CDBG account, then the representatives with any access to CDBG funds must have a fidelity bond that is at least $200,000. CDBG grant funds should be deposited in their own non-interest-bearing checking account, and any other funds necessary to complete the project should be deposited or held in a separate account. These funds must not be commingled. While HUD does allow for CDBG funds to be deposited in an interest-bearing account, the policy of the Office of Community Development is that CDBG funds be held in a non-interest-bearing account. 2 signatures are required on each check used to expend CDBG funds, and these funds need to be dispersed to the vendor within 20 days of the grantee depositing them. The information you provide on the financial report must be accurate and include all the funds requested during the reporting period. The information in your accounting records must be supported by source documentation. Source documentation can include canceled checks, bank statements, invoices, approved pay estimates, or contract invoices. Remember, you must provide documentation to verify both the expense and the payment of the expense. A ledger for your CDBG funds, as well as one for any other funds, must be kept. The periodic financial and periodic performance report forms will be sent to you with an executed grant agreement, or you can download these from our website. The department views these 2 forms with supporting documentation as one quarterly report document. Both the PFR and the PPR are due quarterly, and a final report is due at closeout. The grant agreement has a report schedule included to remind you when these will be due. When you submit the quarterly report to your grant manager, please name it using the grant number, QPFPR, and the end date of the report period. For example, 20-242999 QPFPR, September 30, 21. To fill in the top portion of each form, please use the information found in your grant agreement. The grantee name, the grant number, CSFA, Catalog of State Financial Assistance, CFDA, Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance, FEAN, DUNS, and agreement period are all found between pages 1 and 2. Please use the correct program name, for example, CDBG Public Infrastructure. The report period is the quarterly time frame you are reporting information on. On the PFR, there should be no indirect cost rate, there should be no program restriction, there should be no mandatory match. However, if Exhibit B of your grant agreement has other funds that you included in your application to complete the project, please list the other fund source in cell S, specify match. In cell Y, please fill in the category and approved budget amount from the Exhibit B of the grant agreement. If you are reporting expenses for the quarter in which you are reporting on, please list those expenses under current period grant expense. If you are reporting a match or other fund amount, please list it as either cash or in kind, and then list the total match or other fund amount applied to date. Activity delivery expenses should be listed under cell Y, current approved budget, line 6, contractual services, and construction costs on line 8. PFR needs to be signed by the authorized official, the mayor, the village president, the county board chair, or it can be signed by the designee as indicated in the grant agreement. For the expenses being reported on the PFR, your supporting documentation should match. On the PPR, cell 14, deliverable, is from Exhibit B of the grant agreement. For example, 03JD activity delivery. You'll need a line for each activity listed in Exhibit B. Cell 15, due date, is the end date of the grant. Cell 16, date completed, is the end date of the quarter or the specific date in the quarter that an activity was completed. Cell 17, deliverable expense, such as project is on schedule, or if you report something specific like opened bids. Cell 18 is from Exhibit E, lists 2 lines, one for the total number of persons served and 1 line for the LMI persons served. Cell 19 should be end of the grant. Cell 20 will be blank until the final report. Remember to answer cell 22 and 23. The PPR needs to be signed by the authorized official, the mayor, the village president, the county board chair, or the designee as indicated in the grant agreement. Review the exhibits in your grant agreement to accurately report on the performance of your project.
So now let's talk about reporting for housing-specific projects. So for quarterly reporting, all payments are based on invoices from contractors and administrator. You must document line item payouts to physical inspections of completed work. So you'll be sending in the project performance report, the financial performance report, any rehab, admin, and inspection contracts, any change orders, invoices, canceled checks, certificates of completion per house, and please document the number of homes completed for that quarter on the project performance report. And finally, you'll be sending in a HUD annual performance report in January and a Section 3 report in January. So those last two, the HUD and the Section 3, are annual.